marks the historic visit by President Obama to Israel. It's the first time Mr. Obama has visited the Jewish state during his presidency. He'll be greeted in Tel Aviv by top Israeli leaders and then whisked to a series of high-level meetings.
Now, the trip is expected to be rich in symbolism. The centerpiece will be a speech by the president to the Israeli people to pledge friendship and security. With
the Mideast in turmoil and because of so much uncertainty in the region, this trip is a high-profile one.
ABC's Alex Marquardt is in Jerusalem, where the president meets with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu today. Alex, good morning. This trip, we hear so much about symbolism. Is that just code for not a lot of substance? Break it down for us.
Well, good morning. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This trip is less about what they hope to accomplish in terms of policy and diplomacy than the actual symbolism of coming here. And as you said, this is the first time President Obama has visited Israel and the Palestinian territories as president. And now both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Obama are starting new terms. And of course, there are major regional issues to be discussed. The White House is calling this a broad strategic conversation that will focus on Syria, Iran, and the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Of course, three of the most pressing issues for these two countries today.
So, Alex, if this is more about symbolism, what progress can we possibly expect from the president's meetings with the Israelis and the Palestinians?
Well, of those three issues that will be discussed on this trip, this is the one where the least progress is expected to be made, and expectations have really been lowered by the White House. They made it very clear since this trip was announced that they aren't coming here with any grand plan, any new vision to get this peace process back on track. It hasn't budged in more than 2 years, and it will be discussed at the president's meetings with both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, but none of these three sides are optimistic at this point that negotiators will be back at the table anytime soon.
Alex, let's talk about Syria. The president clearly must have his eye on the country, especially after news that rebel fighters there might actually have chemical weapons now.
Yeah, Syria is probably the most immediate concern for both the U.S. and Israel, specifically the threat of those chemical weapons falling into the wrong hands, as you mentioned. The U.S. and Israel will be looking to clarify each other's positions, what action will be taken in various scenarios, and by whom. Israel, for example, has already attacked a weapons convoy inside Syria early this year that was destined or headed to their enemy Hezbollah. So while the U.S. doesn't want to get involved in another war in the Middle East, this will be a discussion about where they see the civil war in Syria heading and what the chaos in Syria could mean for Israel and the rest of the region.